I believe there's things out there we can't explain.
You're giving me a sign that you're here.
I've had some freaky moments where things follow me home.
As a kid, I experienced a lot of things, saw some apparitions.
Everything has an explanation, even if we don't know what it is.
It's exciting, as uneasy as it is, it's very exciting.
I became very overwhelmed with emotions and I didn't know how to explain it.
But this is what we do. This is why we're here.
Who knows, maybe we'll see something. Maybe we won't.
The coolest thing about this location is that it used to be an Eatons store, and in Canada, Eatons is such a big name, or was at one point, that the cool thing about it is this would have probably been one of Canada's smallest Eatons Department Stores.
In 1941 it was built as Eatons, and Eatons, the family had a cottage, I'm not sure exactly where, but somewhere in the area on one of the local lakes. The story was, the reason they had a store in small town Huntsville was because of the family connection to the town, and the business was built at that time. I'm not sure the exact year, but I'm going to say about 20 years ago, Eatons moved out of Huntsville and closed down here. And Pharma Save, the business, moved in here 17 years ago, so the building stood empty for about 3 years. And then 7 years with the previous owner, and then ourselves for the past 10 years.
I work in the retail fixturing business, so our company has come in several times and done renovations to the store. New fixtures, revamping the fixtures, changing the layout of the store. So myself and another person that I work with have worked here through the night while the store has been closed, which has brought us to this point.
My first introduction, I'll say, to Mrs. Eaton. That's the term we use for the funny things that happen around here. We go, oh, Mrs. Eaton did that. And, whether it's Mrs. Eaton or not, that's just the word we use. I was probably maybe just 2 or 3 weeks after I bought the business, and I was carrying some of my old paperwork from my previous store down to the basement. It was about 9 o'clock at night, store was closed. I was just here, had my truck backed up, and was carrying stuff downstairs. Going along an area which leads into a darker area of the basement. I had 4 or 5 loads, and on about my 5th load, I just felt something. It made me stop, and I looked, because I'm sure someone was going to be standing there. And I put the box down, and I went home, because I was totally creeped out at that point. And I mean, sometimes you get yourself worked up, but I didn't have any of those feelings going in. I wasn't going to the basement going, oh, it's creepy down here. Ooh, it's night and I'm here by myself. I had none of that. I was just working away and no thoughts at all like that. And that moment was, wow, okay, that was creepy. And I don't know, it's hard to explain. It was more of a feeling.
We had some, we were selling like stained glass up at the front. One of those had fallen down and like crashed like in the middle of the night. Like, how could that happen? Nobody was in the store. There was no like the AC wasn't on, or no like wind or movement to make it happen. And then the same night, I guess, because this was the next morning that we realized it, we were coming into the pharmacy, and then there was this basket, like right as you step up into the pharmacy, this basket was just sitting there upside down, and it was one of the baskets that we never use. It was over where we keep them was like 10 feet over across the other side of the pharmacy, like stacked underneath all the other baskets that we do use. So it's like, how could that, and we never use that basket, so how could it just flip itself upside down across the pharmacy?
Just crazy little things that I've experienced here, you know, completely separate from anything that they've experienced. When we were working here, nobody had talked to us about anything funky that has been going on. We just worked. And we were here at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and everything is quiet, and we just heard a large smash. There was a whole half a shelf of product that had been knocked off onto the floor. Nobody else in the building. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. And so we picked all the product back up, put it back on the shelf, and went about our work.
A lot of it little things, things falling, coming in the morning and finding product in the middle of the floor, unexplained, broken things in the middle of a, something like that would just be broken. And so just weird stuff, and we'd always go, oh, Mrs. Eaton broke the vase. And so there's been a lot of little things like that. Now, probably the biggest thing that I saw visually outside of that first experience of when we first bought the store was last summer. Lock up at night, so we have an elevator at the back. Lock the elevator, lock the back door, turn the lights off, do all my normal routine. I was in the back room, I come out and I heard the elevator open. Okay, that's weird. Staff's up here, so I forgot to lock the elevator. Somebody came in the store, walk over, the elevator's closing. There's nobody there. They went over and it was turned off. There's no way that elevator can open when it's turned off.
I've done quite a bit of work down there, pulling wires, getting prepped for new cash registers and pharmacy counters. And just an odd sensation of chills up one half of my body, goosebumps, hair standing up, all on one half of my body. And then it felt like someone had run their fingers through my hair one time down in the basement. And I looked for cobwebs, the typical things that you would associate with that, and found nothing. So, it's just something that you can't explain. And so, like I said, that's what leads us to this point. I thought it would be a fun place for Proof to come in and investigate.
I think this is a really neat location because it seems more modern. It's not, even though the building is, 1941 it was built, it doesn't feel like an old, creepy building.
It's funny because, I was saying to Troy earlier, I like these types of investigations because it's not what you typically picture. You walk into the store, it's a beautiful store. It's a place you'd come in to look at the stuff around and the gifts and whatnot. So you don't really feel negative or feel like there's anything here. And I think that's what makes it cool. So it almost makes you be objective because you're not expecting anything to happen here.
Okay, that I'm totally skeptical. I don't believe there's ghosts at all. However, when we did get here, we were just talking about where we're going to set up, and something fell on the floor, and it was a doorbell thing. Nobody was near it, nobody was touching it, so that's kind of interesting, but it really could have been anything.
Tonight, because of the landscape of what we're dealing with, it's a store still. So we have a lot of room to cover, a lot of area to cover. What we need to do is strategically place the night vision cameras around so that we can cover as much of that as possible. So we have 4 night vision cameras that we're going to tie into the DVR system. And I think what we need to do is kind of find the highest points in this room and strategically place those so we can get as much of that covered as possible, especially since a lot of the reports have been things falling off the shelves and whatnot. We also want one to go downstairs because down there it's quite ominous. When you're down there, you get this really, really weird feeling of that back hallway, and a number of people have reported having sightings or feelings there, so we definitely want to cover that area too.
I've seen the TV shows. I've been sort of skeptical about them, not really sure if I believe if all of it's really real, so this is why I wanted to do it, just to see it and for my own eyes and to see if there really is something down there.
It'd be awesome to, have something happen or experience something or see something that would say, yeah, there's something going on here, or not, either way. Maybe I'll be afraid to come to work if we do find something, I don't know.
We're about to head down to the basement where Troy, the owner, has felt really uncomfortable and thought he saw something one time, and a number of the other staff have felt the place is haunted and that area is active. So we're going to go down there and do some EVP sessions and take some readings and see what we come up with.
Okay, we are in the dark in the basement. Everybody is down here right now, so we're just gonna sit down here for a while, do some EVPs, see what we get.
K2 right there. Got some questions?
Is there anybody here that would like to make contact?
We are hearing some noise from outside. That was a car going by.
We're not here to disrespect or harm anyone. We're just here to learn a little bit about you and figure out who you are.
If you're here with us now, I have a device in my left hand that has a light on it. I would ask you to come near me and make the light change. Change the light from green up to yellow or orange or red. All you have to do is come over and touch my hand. If you're here now, please come forward. Is it Mrs. Eaton that's still here? If it is, I want you to know, Mrs. Eaton, that we mean you no harm at all. And that we're just here to talk with you and have you come forward and talk to us. Please feel free to show yourself any way you can. Anything you can do to show that you're here. If you can speak to us, my name is Brad. I ask you what your name is. Had a little blip on the K2. Don't be afraid. You can feel comfortable around us. There it goes. Oh.
That's a good one.
If that was you, okay. Are you still here?
Troy is down here with us. He's just here to try to verify some of the feelings that he's had and experiences that he's had as well. If you'd like to even speak to Troy, you can use one of these devices and talk to Troy.
Are you happy with the changes that Troy has made over the years to this place? You think he's done a great job of upholding the vision that you had for the store?
This is where I had the weird feelings standing right here.
Yeah. How you feeling now, Shane?
Not bad, actually. I feel perfectly comfortable. Nothing like I've experienced down here in the past, that's for sure. When I was working down here by myself, somebody made contact with me and touched my arm and touched my hair. Was that you? And were you trying to make contact with me and try to tell me something?
This would be a good place for you to have a solo after, Shane.
Mm-hmm. We are in the old coal-burning furnace room. Directly behind you, Ben, is the old storage facility for the coal. To your left is the old coal-burning furnace. There is a street festival going on, so we can hear lots of cars and drums and music. Are you still with us?
Are you able to light the device up in Brad's hand again? Can you tell us your name? Did something happen here and you're not ready to leave?
I just feel like I want to go upstairs right now. I don't know what it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if it's like a...
What, like you want to go upstairs or you don't want to be down here?
No, it's not that I don't want to be down here. It's just that I feel like upstairs where I want to do some work. I don't know if I'm being drawn to that or just that's my inclination or what.
Okay. Let's do it.
We just finished up our first session downstairs, and now we're heading back upstairs to see what we can get up there. Is there anyone down here with me? We were down here before. We were down here before and you made the lights move on this thing. Okay, what's really interesting is it's fairly quiet down here, so you can hear every little footstep that they make upstairs. Also, on the wall over there is a clock, and I can hear that ticking as well. So it's going to be hard to attribute any noises down here to anything other than, you know, creaks and groans and people moving upstairs or that clock. But we'll see. Still nothing on this meter. To be honest, I really don't know what to ask. I feel rather silly talking to a spirit or a ghost, which I don't believe is actually here. I mean, it's a basement. It's a little creepy just because it's an old basement. Yeah. And here's the deck of cards that we saw. So on the shelf behind me here is a deck of cards that we noticed. It's out of place. It's not on the shelf where it should be. Unfortunately, we can't find footage of this shelf before we noticed the deck of cards. So it could very well be just something that a customer put there, or it could be something else.
Right.
Yep. Look at that.
I wonder how the bag is sitting.
Well, we were at the back and we heard the sound. It was like something fell. And we came up and we found a bag on the floor.
And how did it fall out?
That's great.
Yeah, that's kind of
Cool. It is.
I dig it.
Yeah, it was probably sitting like how this one was.
Okay, so let's take a look at it now. And this bag that was probably like that.
Suppose it could have
like maybe when someone walked by,
slowly slid.
but it's not really coming out that
Well, it
easy.
would have slid the other way because it
Like back, you know, like
Yeah.
coming out like this?
yeah, because the way it landed,
The handles were
the handle was facing the other way, wasn't it?
facing in.
Yeah.
Up.
So how would it have to fall to
So
do
that would have
that?
been facing, that obviously would have been
This facing
merchandise like that, right? I think.
Yeah, so how does it fall facing?
So it would have to fall out like
that.
But because
Yeah,
it's not really slippery.
Even at that, it's gonna fall the other way.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Okay, that's
Let's leave it like that and see what happens.
Well, yeah, it still could just fall on its own like that.
That's what I'm saying. So let's leave it like that and see if it falls on its own. How it, if it does.
okay.
How did it fall?
Well, it fell that way again.
Which way again?
Well, the same way.
The correct way. Okay, so
yeah, we just did an experiment where we put the bag back on the shelf in a way that was kind of teetering already, so it wasn't really back in where it should have been. It was kind of teetering, and the idea being, let's see if it'll move again. So it did fall, and it fell into the position that it did the original time when we came up and found it. But still, I don't understand how it felt like that again.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how it got out this far. It's almost like it flipped.
did you say it was on camera?
It's on camera, yeah.
Yeah?
This area is on camera.
Well, we should check the first bit
Yeah.
on the security camera. Cool. Might as well shove it right in now.
Yeah, I will.
It's hazy, but as soon as you guys walked over there, I realized that that bag is on camera.
Yeah.
It's really tough to see that corner, but
Like right here?
yeah, up a little bit.
We were just checking over the security camera footage to see if we caught the area where that bag fell.
Can't see the bag though, can we?
Okay, I am doing a solo EVP in the basement of the pharmacy. This is the area where I had the feelings of being touched and chills. So I'm down here by myself to see if I can make contact. Right now, there's no feeling of uneasiness. It's still very quiet down here with no hits on the K2 meter. Just feels very flat. So I'm gonna pack it in. I'm gonna take this upstairs. I've got zero feelings down here, so
I think I'll just stay very quiet and just take it all in. This is my one creepy spot in the store, so. Didn't realize how quiet it is down here. The time I did get the sensation, it was a definite feeling of something which I don't feel at all tonight.
Is there anyone here with me? Please feel free to come forward and talk to me. My name is Brad. What is yours? You have to know that I mean you no harm at all, and I respect you, and I can only ask that you respect me in return and not do anything to hurt me. I hope we're clear on that. I bet back in its heyday this place was pretty awesome. I can picture it being a department store that you would have been very proud of. I believe earlier you might have spoken to me on this audio recorder. So please feel free to use your words to speak to me again. I appreciate that. So I was just reviewing the recording from when I was downstairs by myself, and I have a very faint EVP, or possible EVP, after I said, I believe earlier you might have spoken to me on this audio recorder. So please feel free to use your words to speak to me again. And about 3 seconds after that, it sounded like something said something back to me. It said words. So please feel free to use your words to speak to me again. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's really hard to hear on the audio. I could hear it in the with the speaker, but I could hear it on the headphones. So I'll upload it and analyze it and see if it was something.
I think honestly didn't think we'd see or hear anything. So the fact that that purse falling is quite interesting, and the bell earlier makes it a little interesting. I'm a little surprised at how quiet and calm the basement felt to me. It was something I thought I'd never do, sit down there by myself in the dark, and actually I felt totally relaxed down there. I was like sitting in my own living room. It was interesting because I didn't even feel the least bit creeped out. So that's a bit of a surprise to me. But the physical things are interesting. Definitely, I guess there could be explanations to it, but it's the fact that they happened and we heard them is kind of cool.
There's an odd sound over here. I mean, it sounds like it could be something in the vents, but when I look up, the sound seems to be coming from where this lamp is. And it has now stopped. I thought it was coming from inside the pipe there, maybe the air vent pipe, but then when I got as far as the pipe, it sounded like it was coming from where the lamp is.
Well, when you were looking at or listening to the sound over here, I just was looking up there, and from back there, it looked like it was moving. So I thought I'll get closer, and it was definitely moving. It was very slight. It was just a gradual, but actually it was just going one way. Very gradual motion, but it was definitely moving. So I called Shane over just to get another set of eyes, because
it was definitely moving.
Yeah, I'm tired, so
yeah,
I was making sure I was stabilized here.
It was just a very slow,
yeah,
movement. Yeah, that was it.
Okay, so we are going to try something that we haven't tried for quite a while. We've created a little Ouija board on the counter here. It may be hard to actually read the letters, so we'll call them out as we go along. I'm going to film this, and Brad, Shane, and Troy are going to put their fingers on the thing and ask the questions. So we're going to see if that gives us any results.
Is there anyone here with us? If you're here now, please move the cup to a letter. Mrs. Eaton, are you here? Come talk to us. Well, we did a Ouija board session / psychic circle type of thing, and it felt a bit silly to even try it, but I mean, I guess, hey, we're in the business of trying to prove these things, so as suspected, nothing happened, nothing moved. I tried it, then Ben tried it with Shane and Troy, and nothing happened.
I've never tried it before, so this is a first for me. And I don't know, I'm a little bit skeptical right now, to be honest. I would like to try it again with a real Ouija board, just to see, you know, if the possibility is there that we can make contact through a Ouija board. But I'm not thinking the makeshift one is working for us tonight.
I remember playing around with it for fun with roommates, and I don't know if I ever took it overly seriously. It was just kind of a fun thing to do. It would move around, but you're usually accusing the person you're doing it with for moving it. So, yeah, not a big believer in it.
So I suggested that we try making a Ouija board. I really don't think Ouija boards are real, but thought we'd give it a try. And maybe it's because we had a bunch of skeptical guys trying to get the cup to move. It didn't move at all. Honestly, I don't think I really expected it to move at all. So, yeah, I guess we all just ended up feeling silly. And, yeah.
Tonight was a really great investigation here in Huntsville at the Pharmasafe. It was really cool in the fact that, you know, on the outside looking in, it looks like a very nice store, and you know, you wouldn't think that this place could possibly be haunted. And once you get inside, it certainly doesn't feel negative or like it could be haunted, but we had several things happen tonight that, you know, led us to believe that maybe something's going on here.
Like most investigations, a lot of it was sitting around just waiting for things to happen. But we did have a few really cool things happen.
We covered all of our bases, the main floor, the basement, and I thought we had some fairly interesting things happen tonight, and it'll be quite interesting to review everything and enhance a little bit just to see what we actually caught on tape and hopefully on camera. The bag was definitely the highlight of the night for me.
The few little things that happened made it really unique. Had they not happened, it would have been very disappointing. But the fact that we had a few things happen that still are somewhat unexplained, and there's still some stuff to go through, yeah, it was a lot of fun for me.
I believe there's things out there we can't explain. You're giving me a sign that you're here.
I've had some freaky moments where things follow me home.
As a kid, experienced a lot of things, saw some apparitions.
Everything has an explanation, even if we don't know what it is.
It's exciting, as uneasy as it is, it's very exciting.
I became very overwhelmed with emotions and I didn't know how to explain it.
But this is what we do. This is why we're here.
Area of the basement. I had 4 or 5 loads, and on about my 5th load, I just felt something. It made me stop, and I looked because I'm sure someone was going to be standing there. And I put the box down and I went home because I was totally creeped out at that point. And I mean, sometimes you get yourself worked up, but I didn't have any of those feelings going in. I wasn't going to the basement going, oh, it's creepy down here. Ooh, it's night and I'm here by myself. I had none of that. I was just working away and no thoughts at all like that. And that moment was, wow, okay, that was creepy. And I don't know, it's hard to explain. It was more of a feeling.
We had some, we were selling like stained glass up at the front. One of those had fallen down and like crashed like in the middle of the night. Like, how could that happen? Nobody was in the store. There was no like.
Who knows, maybe we'll see something. Maybe we won't.
The coolest thing about this location is that it used to be an Eatons store, and in Canada, Eatons is such a big name, or was at one point, that the cool thing about it is this would have probably been one of Canada's smallest Eatons Department Stores.
In 1941, it was built as Eatons, and Eatons, the family had a cottage, I'm not sure exactly where, but somewhere in the area on one of the local lakes. So the story was, the reason they had a store in small town Huntsville was because of the family connection to the town, and the business was built at that time. I'm not sure the exact year, but I'm going to say about 20 years ago, Eatons moved out of Huntsville and closed down here. And Pharmasave, the business, moved in here 17 years ago, so the building stood empty for about 3 years. And then 7 years with the previous owner, and then ourselves for the past 10 years.
I work in the retail fixturing business, so our company has come in several times and done renovations to the store. New fixtures, revamping the fixtures, changing the layout of the store. So myself and another person that I work with have worked here through the night while the store has been closed, which has brought us to this point.
My first introduction, I'll say, to Mrs. Eaton. That's the term we use for the funny things that happen around here. We go, oh, Mrs. Eaton did that. And, whether it's Mrs. Eaton or not, that's just the word we use. I was probably maybe just 2 or 3 weeks after I bought the business, and I was carrying some of my old paperwork from my previous store down to the basement. It was about 9 o'clock at night, store was closed. I was just here, had my truck backed up, and was carrying stuff downstairs. Going along an area which leads into a dark